Welcome to Your Yes-Filled Life. I'm your host, Brenda Winkle, educator, healer, speaker, guide, and fierce advocate for your yes. I help sensitive and successful men and women find, reclaim, and live from their full embodied yes. Through empowering you to understand your energetic hygiene, establish healthy boundaries, and heal your nervous system, you'll be able to create your yes-filled life and move through your days with more freedom, more ease, and more joy. You'll hear inspiring stories of people who found their full-bodied yes, thought leaders who pursued their own dreams and are living life on their terms, and learn new ways to find the courage, joy, ease, and freedom to more fully step into your yes-filled life. Say no to the good so you can say yes to the great. Join me on this journey to discover your yes-filled life. Whether you're looking to break free from the golden handcuffs, start a new business, find your dream job, or simply live with more intention and mindfulness, I've got you covered. Let's explore the possibilities together and make your dreams a reality. Ready? Let's do this. Let's get you to your yes-filled life. Hello, and welcome back to Your Yes-Filled Life. Whether you're here for the first time or you listen to every episode, thank you so much for listening. I recognize that there are so many shows you could be listening to, and it just means a lot that you are here. So when I think of a yes-filled life, I think of that feeling with your hands up in the air and you're saying yes. And the thing about a yes-filled life is that it is not an absence of contrast or difficult situations. It is the willingness to find joy in the contrast that arrives. Of course, there's going to be lots of times when there's not contrast, when it really is just naturally joy-filled and you feel easy, freedom and peace and happiness. But the real yes-filled life comes from being able and being willing to give yourself permission to access joy when things feel really, really crunchy or hard. And so as we dig into that premise, it can kind of change how we're thinking about things. Because if you think that a yes-filled life is only joy all the time, then it feels almost like a spiritual bypassing where we're pushing down emotions, where we're not actually letting our emotions flow. And then that can lead to some questions about, like, what am I doing wrong? Because I'm not feeling in a state of joy all the time. So the thing is that you can have an experience difficult emotions and maintain a high vibration, meaning that you can still have access to your most creative self as you have these deep feelings. And as an empath, it's especially important for you to recognize that you can have really difficult feelings and still do the things that you want to do, whether that's create a business or find a lover or write the book. You can do all the things as long as you're willing to let that emotionality flow through you and put tools in place that can be really, really supportive of you. So, or for you, of you, for you. I'm not sure how that would work. So, in this episode, we're going to be talking more about the power framework for empaths. And we're going to be talking about ways that your empathy might be showing up for you that you're not quite aware of yet, or maybe you are. And we'll be talking about some things that you can do to really support yourself and putting this power framework into place. So, the overarching feeling that I would love for you to walk away with from this episode is to feel like you're totally normal, like there's nothing wrong with you, like you are the most evolved, divine, lovable version of you, and to know that there's literally nothing wrong with you, that you have big emotions or you experience deep emotions or that you sometimes accidentally absorb emotions. That doesn't make you wrong or bad. I want you to feel an experience of relief. Like, oh my gosh, somebody gets me. And then I also want you to know that there is a solution out there. And possibly you're here to get an aha. There might be an aha like, oh, wow, I didn't realize that I was an empath. And so if that's the case, I'll have more support for you. So I am an empath. I'm an intuitive. Um, and I don't typically do psychic medium work, although I am capable of it. My joy comes from really diving into the empath track and then really deepening my own personal embodiment and guiding other people towards embodiment. Because, we are spiritual beings having this physical experience here on earth. And you know what the point is? The point is to enjoy this experience. That's the point. Life is supposed to be fun. Yes, there's lessons that come along the way. Yes, there's some tricky times, but those lessons and those tricky times make the joyful moments even sweeter, don't you think? So I just spent the last week in Boise and I lived in Boise for 17 years. I love it there. I love the people there. I connected with as many people as I could in that short time. And I didn't get to connect with all of you that are in Boise there, but I will be back through. I'd actually planned to extend my time in Boise. And then my family situation in Madison, Wisconsin has dramatically changed, which has led to an unexpected trip by car to Madison. So, as I'm recording this episode for you today, I'm in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and the car is mostly packed. I'm in my hotel room with Bentley, and we'll head on down the road after I do a breathwork session for myself, where I'm the one being held in breath. And then I'll drive the rest of the way. Well, maybe not the rest of the way. I'll keep driving towards Madison. It's still like another 13 hours away from Cheyenne. So it's unlikely that I will end up there today, although not impossible. So when I think about the power framework for empaths, power meaning it's each letter of power stands for something. The P is presence, O is optimize, W is wisdom, E is evaluate, R is renew. When I think about the power framework for empaths, I'm realizing and recognizing that I'm using these tools all the time. So I'm going into a situation in Madison where I have my own emotionality around the situation. I have my own emotional responses. I am not immune to emotions. If anything, I feel them even more deeply because of my embodiment. So I feel the extremes of emotion. I feel the very, very joyful joy, the highs, and I also feel the sadness and the grief. And you can feel it all and not worry that you can't manifest what you want or that you aren't a high vibe person. You actually need to feel them all. You need to let that emotionality flow through your body and then put this framework into place. So I want to make sure that I highlight it's important to feel the emotionality to let it flow through your body and then put the tools in place. So the P for presence is really rooted in the idea that the energy field around you, some people call that your electromagnetic field, some people call it your aura, that field size matters. So when I'm going into Madison, I'm going to be really, really aware of the size of my energy field. I'm going into a highly emotional situation and I have my own emotions around this. So if I walked into that situation with a really big energy field, it would potentially put me in a situation where I could act as a sponge, absorbing all the energy around me. So I'm going to really tighten up my energetic field and keep it really close to my body so that when I'm experiencing an emotion, I can be more assured that it's my emotion and that I'm not absorbing the energy and emotion from the other people around you or around me in that case. So the power, the P, is really, really important. It differs depending on your intention. In those situations that are highly volatile with a lot of emotionality, keeping your energy field close and tight around you is really supportive. So, this is going to be you if you are a healthcare worker working in an emergency department. This would be very, very supportive so that you don't absorb the emotions around you. You're probably already doing this anyway and not recognizing that this is what you're doing. If you are an educator and you have a classroom full of really wiggly, spirited, um, High energy children, you're probably doing this anyway. Keep your energy field in tight. If you're a therapist and you have a really highly emotional client come in, you'll want to do this too. And if you don't do this, you'll find yourself getting exhausted, drained, depleted. And so if you've ever left a situation and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so drained after working with these people, then it is an indication of several things. One of those being your energy field is probably too big and it's probably absorbing energy and emotion. Now, that's not to say that an energy field that's big is bad. That's not the case at all. There are many times when I make my energy field absolutely huge. I do this when I want to understand people around me. I do this when I want to be able to understand how I can best serve people, how I can connect with people. When I want to really deeply connect with their emotionality, I'll make my energy field really, really big so that I can have more access. So, like if I'm speaking or if I'm in a large group and it's a really fun group, then I might expand my energy field. And you could do the same thing. If you're speaking just like a keynote, you want a big energy field. That's what I do when I give keynotes is I make my energy field really, really big to fill up at least the room so that people can feel my presence. They can really feel that I am present. And I'll talk more about that as I go on. But one of the things that we're going to be doing at the Energetic Mastery Retreat in Beaverton, Oregon, September 24th through 28th is playing with the size of your energy field. And I'll teach you exactly how to do it. And it's going to be so fun because when we're in person and we can literally play with this and I can show you how to do it and you can feel what happens when my system expands or tightens up the energy field. And then I can show you what it's like in your system. It's going to be absolutely amazing. So if you haven't yet checked out that retreat and you think you're an empath and you're an entrepreneur, that retreat is for you. Go check it out at brendawinkle.com/energetic. And I'll put the link in the show notes as well. The O is for optimize. So whether or not you own the space or it's your space, that you're going into for a situation, or even if you're currently in that space, you can optimize it for energy richness. So, there's one school of thought, and this is the more common one, where you're going to come in and put protective qualities in. You're going to sage or smudge or use Palo Santo or crystals or different things to prevent negative energy. And that all works. But this is a slightly different take on it. It's optimizing and elevating the energy. And so there are some really simple ways that you can do this. And I'm going to be doing this when I go into the situation in Madison. So I'm going to be sending loving, positive energy to the building that I'll be in and the specific rooms that I'll be in and to the specific people that I'll be with. We live in a universe of intention. And so, whether you are trained as an energy healer or not, you can actually impact the energy of a space and of the people around you. And so, I'll teach you more how to do this too at the Energetic Mastery Retreat. But so I'll be optimizing that space for energy richness so that when I go in, it doesn't automatically suck my energy because really volatile emotional situations can drain your energy. So when you have a high vibration and a lot of positive energy flowing through you, and you're like a lighthouse, sometimes when you get into really chaotic or volatile or emotional situations, it can feel like you've just had the wind sucked out of you. And you can end up like at the end of your time there, like with your head between your knees, wondering what just happened. I was feeling fine and now I'm so drained and so depleted. It makes you feel like you have to sleep before you can even drive home. Like you find yourself setting a timer in your car to close your eyes for 5 or 7 minutes because you don't feel safe to drive. That is a great example of working in less than optimal space when that happens. And, we'll talk more about how you can harness your energy when I talk about some of the other letters in the power framework. But, you know, it's not essential. It's not a given. It's not necessary for you to be so drained, even in highly volatile, emotional, or chaotic situations. You can maintain your energetic sovereignty. And using this power framework, developed especially for empaths, you can do that. So, the other ways that you can optimize your space for energy richness are make sure that the area directly around you is really clean. Now, again, if this isn't your space, there's still things that you can do to optimize it. You can make sure that the space immediately around you is clean. If you have a bag, you can make sure that your bag is clean. Those are just some really simple things you can do, in addition to actually working the energy, which I'm happy to talk to you about in a strategy call or at the retreat. The W is for wisdom. So you can actually harness your own energy through generative practices. And what this means is that you can take on less energy and emotion that are not yours by having the wisdom to understand, watch, observe when there's emotionality that might be leaking. And so you probably have an energetic leak if this is happening. And then the energy around you is coming into you through that energy leak. So we have to plug the leak. And then we also have to really be observant. And what this means is we can't assume as empaths that everything we feel is ours. And we can't assume as empaths that every emotion in the room is something we have to navigate. It's a little bit of discernment, in fact, a lot of discernment in thinking to yourself, how was I feeling 5 minutes ago? Was I feeling fine? Was I feeling neutral? Was I feeling joyful, expansive, love, freedom? Or was I feeling scarce and fear? And just observing, how was I before I got into this situation? And then realizing anything that you're feeling now is probably not yours. And here's the thing, Abraham Hicks says, you can't be poor enough to help the poor, and you can't be sick enough to help the sick. And this is true with energy too. You can't absorb enough negative energy to make a difference for the situation. And so as I go into this situation in Madison, I'm reminding myself of that. I can't absorb anything. Like there's no extra points for me taking this energy on. I don't get extra credit for that. If I were to do that, the only thing that it would do is diminish my capacity to show up for my family in a way that's actually supportive. And the same thing is true for you. A lot of times when you're an empath, you're telling yourself that by absorbing the negative energy around you, that you're actually helping somebody in some way. I'm going to challenge that and say that's actually not true. Like you cannot be the universal vacuum of all the bad energy and think you're not going to be affected. It doesn't help them, and it certainly does not help you. And this comes back to our original premise of a yes filled life being a life where you're willing to access joy even when there's difficult times. So, having the wisdom to really be paying attention to how was I feeling 5 minutes ago compared to how I'm feeling now? How can I get back to what is me? What is sovereignly me? And then find a better feeling state, a better feeling thought if the emotions around you were not yours. And, we're going to talk more about this as time goes on. But one of the strategies that I have, which is kind of an emergency strategy, it can create a little bit of separation. Is the zip up technique. Now, I've talked about that in other podcast episodes too. You can use this in case of emergency, but I do want to caution you that it does create a little bit of energetic separation between you and the people around you. So if that is supportive for you, go ahead and zip up. Make a zipping motion from the base of your torso all the way up over your head with the intention of zipping up your energy, really letting it be sovereignly yours. And then you'll want to make sure that you unzip the energy if you want to reconnect. That doesn't mean you're not setting energetic boundaries. This is where people sometimes get it mixed up. They think that you have to create a separation boundary in order to not take on the emotionality. That's not true. You just need a firmer energetic boundary. And I would love to show you how to do that either on a power strategy session, inside second chapter, or at the energetic mastery retreat. So the E is for evaluate. When we are evaluating, we are looking to diagnose energy issues. Where are you leaking energy? Where are you leaking bandwidth? Which problems or challenges are you trying to solve that are actually just energy leaks? And which one of them actually needs solutions? 99.9% of the time, it's an energy leak. I know that seems simplistic to say, but it is true. So if we can plug the energy leak, the situation immediately resolves. So one of the cool things that you can do is just to shift your perspective as you're looking to evaluate. If you get stuck in victim mode, and this can happen, but if you get stuck into victim mode, you are not going to accurately see the situation because you're not willing to take any responsibility when you're in victim mode. You have to be willing to look at your part of the situation. How can you change how you are showing up? Where are you leaking energy? So, as I go into this situation in Madison, which is going to be very, very challenging, I'm going to be looking at my own emotionality. If I notice that I'm feeling irritated or if I'm feeling overcome with sadness or grief, I'm going to have to really give myself some tough love and ask myself, is this real for me or am I leaking energy? And is there a way I can shore up my energy and strengthen my own energetic boundaries? Does that mean I need to go outside and take a walk? Do I need to take a break? Do I need to take a nap? Do I need more water? Do I need some nourishing food? And you can ask yourself the same questions. And then the R is for renew. And so when we're talking about renewing, this is one of my favorite things to do because we all need these renewal strategies, whether or not there's a difficult situation. And, inside my strategy calls, which are called power calls for empaths, they're 90 minutes, just you and me talking about all the ways that your empathy is contributing to your life and perhaps causing challenges. And then we really are going to find ways that we can juice the empathy in a way that is so supportive of your business, where we can clear the business energy so that it can really create the income and impact that you want it to. And we can clear your energy because we know that your business is innately tied to your energy. So if you have energy leaks, that's affecting your business. That's affecting what's happening. That's affecting the revenue that you're generating. And so in these power strategy sessions, we're going to be really doing a deep dive into how can we plug the leaks and renew the energy within you. So this renewal part is honestly it's one of my favorites because it talks about empowerment. So you have the power to create energetic buffers, which means not only do you take on less from other people, but you actually get to keep more of your own energy. And you get ready to take on the world with renewed energy and confidence. And when you're coming in from this place, everything you create is just so much richer. So, your empathic nature can get in the way sometimes of some of your business goals just because it's so easy to take on the energy, emotions, opinions of other people as an empath. So even like let me give you an example. If you're working with a team or a coach and the team or the coach excuse me, the team member or a coach has given you a suggestion, it can be very, very difficult for you to discern, do I think that's the right choice for me? Because their resolve is so certain that it can make you think this is for sure, 100% sure, the right thing, when maybe it is, but maybe it's not. And because of that mirror empathy that we talk about, especially in last episode, that can be really challenging and problematic for people. So I want you to have the ability and the discernment to know how to make your own decisions. And in these power strategy sessions, which are 90 minutes with just you and me, we're going to really do a deep dive in ways this might be affecting you. Another way that the R in the power framework can really, really improve, increase your impact, your income, your sovereignty, your mental peace, and your bandwidth is by creating just a little bit of spaciousness around you. So one of the things for empaths is that it's very challenging to know what's yours and what's mine, right? Because it feels kind of all like the same little soup. And so learning the subtle ways that you can discern something from yours and not yours can be really, really supportive. And the ways that we do that are slightly different for every body because your system has its own unique way of processing information. So, when we also talk about renewal, renewal for you might look different than renewal for me. So, I'd love for you just to take a moment and jot down anything that resonates with you in this list that I'm going to give you. So, if you don't yet have a piece of paper out or your phone note app, I would invite you to do that. If you're driving, just come back to this maybe later. But I'd love for you to just be thinking about, how do you get resourced? Is it by going outside and being in nature? Does it make a difference for you if it's actual nature, like a hike or going into a forest or to the ocean? Or is just going outside supportive? Are you nourished by being around other people, or are you nourished by being alone? And if you're nourished by other people, are you nourished by being with one other person, or two or three other people, or a large group? Are you nourished when you spend time in activities that are deeply self loving activities, like meal planning or meal prepping or even cooking? How do you feel nourished? Is it by playing with a fur baby or spending time with your family? So, thinking about the ways that nourishment shows up for you can be really, really helpful, because you can add that to your list. In fact, I have a free guide for you. It's called the Feel Better Fast Guide. You can get it at brendawinkle.com/, feel better fast. And it's a guide that will walk you through the ways in which you can feel better fast. Why is that important? Well, as an empath, when you are feeling good, you're in your own body, you're in your own energy, you're in your own emotionality, which means that you can make really clear and clean decisions. It means that you can do things that you know are authentically good for you without making a mistake. I don't know if you've ever like made decisions that when you got to the execution of the action on the other side of the decision, you're like, I don't know if this was the right choice or not. And then you realize that you did something that somebody else thought was the right choice, but it wasn't actually right for you. So when you're more fully resourced because of this renewal, the R in the power framework, that happens a whole lot less. So when we talk about the R in the power framework, we're not just talking about solving a problem, although it does work to solve a problem. It also works to prevent problems. And so this is one of the really important things to remember, is we want to continue with our resourcing. For me, oftentimes that's breath work. I use breath work on a daily basis, if not several times a day, to resource myself. And I'm not doing it because there's a problem. I'm doing it the same way that I keep my car full of gas. I know that my car needs to have fuel to drive. So I make a point to go to the gas station and put more gas in my car before it gets on empty. I treat myself the same way. I never let myself get to empty. So that means I'm constantly resourcing myself, whether it's by being with people that I love, connecting with them either in person or on Zoom calls, or spending time in nature or through breath work, because those are the ways that nourish me. So I'd really love for you to spend some time thinking about what nourishes you. So go grab that free guide, that Feel Better Fast guide, and you will be able to have a running list of ways that you are resourced and nourished. So, in all of this, I want you to know that if any of this sounds like, gosh, it's like you're reading my mind, Brenda, then there's a high probability you have a high level of empathy and might even be an empath. And in that case, I would love to invite you into a power strategy session. And in this power strategy session, we are going to make sure that we optimize the ways that your empathy can really, really serve you and serve your business. We'll clear the energy from your business, clear the energy from you. And that's why I'm calling it a healing and strategy session. Because if we ignore anything that might be stuck in the system, then we're kind of ignoring the lowest hanging fruit. Because when we clear that, oh my gosh, things really take off. So I'd love to invite you into a power strategy session. These are 90-minute sessions. They're available for $333. And they're they're just mind blowing. They'll change your life, they'll change your business. And then if you want to keep working with me, or you want to work with me in a more ongoing or personal way, there's the option of the retreat coming up in September in Beaverton, Oregon, the Energetic Mastery Retreat for Empathic Entrepreneurs. And there is second chapter, which is my ongoing healing and coaching program for empaths and empathic entrepreneurs. Now, spots are limited at both the retreat and inside second chapter. So if there's any part of you that's curious, I invite you to go check them out. I'm going to put the links in the show notes so that you can go investigate them. And then let's get a call on the books so that we can really, really, really magnetize your empathy and your business. So, whether you're a 6 or 7 figure entrepreneur or you're just getting started on your entrepreneurial journey, I can support you in these power strategy sessions. I learned in a one on one last week with one of my business mentors that these are the people that I can help the most because I get so much joy from working with and supporting and helping empathic entrepreneurs. Because when we find ways to turn this deep level of care and compassion and love, this empathy, into a superpower, your heart centered business will have impact and income like never before. And I want that for you so much because the world really, truly does need the special gift that you have. Your empathy is your greatest gift. And sometimes it can feel like a liability. In fact, one of the people I talked to in the last week was like, being an empath sucks because it can feel like a lot if you don't know how to avoid taking on all that energy in your own system. But that's where I come in. That's where the power framework comes in. I can support you, whether it's in a one on one power strategy session, at the retreat, or inside second chapter. So I would love any love and light that you could send my way, my family's way for this next little chapter. I don't know how long I'll be in Madison. I'll be there as long as I'm feeling like I'm making a difference. And then I'll keep you posted on where to next. But we could certainly use some love and light because the situation is evolving very quickly and has been really extraordinarily difficult for my family. And so I don't want to sugarcoat this. This is difficult for me. It's difficult for my family. And also I'm working with great intention to model to you that it's possible to have a joy-filled life even when life is doing lifey things that are difficult and hard. It's possible to have duality. It's possible to have deep grief and access joy. It's possible to feel sad and to find great pleasure and enjoyment. The duality is where there's so much richness. And that, my friend, is a yes filled life. When you can allow yourself the joy, the happiness, the pleasure, the freedom, the expansion in the difficult moments that life has. And I am so grateful that you're along this journey with me. Thank you for listening. I love creating content for you each week. It just like literally lights me up. It's my favorite thing to do. And so if you have requests or questions, please reach out and let me know because I'll create some content around your requests or questions. You can reach out to me at Brenda. Um, let's see, email would be Brenda@BrendaWinkle.com. And on Instagram, I'm at Brenda Winkle. So connect with me there, send me a DM. I just can't wait to connect with you. I really, really do love to connect with people. It is me right now. I'm a team of one. That won't be the case forever, but I am the one that you'll be contacting. So reach out. Thank you so much for listening. Here's to your yes filled life. Bye for now. Until next time.